Hey, what's up? This is Paul Solt from Super Easy Apps, and I want to give you a rundown of what I've been working on over the past week. I really thought that I would have more course content done, but actually setting up the course website, setting up the syllabus, and then starting to really think about the syllabus and the outcomes that I want you to have as a student made me realize that I had to go back to square one and I had to reevaluate the lessons that I had planned for the course. So originally, I thought this would just be a simple course on some REST API app development stuff. But in order to help you really become an iPhone developer or to create that iPhone app, there's a certain amount of fundamental skill that I have to teach. And so to get to the root of what kind of outcome I could teach, I had to rethink the syllabus. So before I dive into the syllabus, I want to go back. So this is the updated sort of waitlist page. I've rewritten it a little bit, really tried to focus on what's important for the course. I think we're targeting like 50 to 60 lessons at this point. There's more stuff that I need to cover in order to help existing developers break into iPhone development. If you're like an indie developer just getting started, and if you want to turn an app into something that you can sell, like there's a lot. And I can't teach everything. Like this is still an introductory course, but I think I can hit on a lot of the different things. And this made me think that I have to go back to how I taught my Skillshare course. Now you can't see this course anymore. It's no longer on their website because it's so out of date. This was for Xcode 5 and it's so old. Xcode 5 and what? I don't even know. iOS something. You can look it up on Google. But this course was a project-based course, which is the type of courses that I like. And so I want iPhone Apps 101 to be, again, another project-based course where we're going to build some app and then I'll fill in some of the details. So I think it's really important to get something working that you can tweak and play around with, rather than just giving you like, this is the boring topic that you need to learn. You got to learn this one, this one, this one. So I'm going to have some project-based learning in the beginning, and then there will be sort of actual skills that you can transfer to the app or project that you're working on. And when I say project-based, there was a Capstone project for the iPhone course on Skillshare. And I love doing this, and I've done this for the courses that I've taught at RIT, and I did this for the courses that I taught at Lambda School. Having some kind of capstone project, I think, really makes the course have a more tangible outcome because you have a work item. You have something that you can show someone beyond just the generic sort of introductory iPhone apps that you might make just to get your head around it. And that gives you the opportunity to try something new. And so I had a few students post their projects. And you can see, so like my project that kind of inspired this idea was my matte border calculator. And so this is for matte framing. I wanted to use gesture recognizers to calculate the dimensions and visualize that information on the screen and make it easy to do. So like this was my prototype, and that's how I started. And then this is where it got to. This is my dog row, and then having different aspect ratios. Here it would have been really nice to have a SF symbol that didn't exist. This is a custom control, which is using a collection view. It's a lot easier now than it used to be. And then just having some of the previews and stuff. So you could just sort of see the progress. You could see the app. Like that's kind of what I want this course to be about, is I want you to pick a passion project that you're going to work towards. I'm going to teach you some things throughout the course, and then you're going to learn a lot. So that's matte border calculator app. So this is someone did some kind of weather app and just starting with sketches. So I think that's a really powerful way to learn. And you build up to it by building some base knowledge. This one was kind of cool, is like coming up with tracking threads and stuff like that. Let's see, this one, just having some sketches of where they want to go, coming up with some code, showing some progress. Long exposure calculator. So there's some math here for solving something. So calculators are super simple, like the one that I showed, the map border calculator. This is something that's useful for someone because it's hard to visualize what these dimensions look like and then what those sizes look like on each of the edges. If that's in inches or if that's in centimeters, doing something like this helps people. For the course, it's going to be project based. And so that meant rethinking the course syllabus. So what I've done to rethink it is I've just totally revamped it. So this is the old syllabus. It wasn't as fleshed out. I had sort of a basic idea and I had a starting numbering. And now what I've done is I've gone in, I've renumbered everything. So I've rearranged some of the sections. All of the some of the videos that I already filmed that were in section 2 are now in section 1. And so this is like kickstart, super beginner stuff, getting you set up with your computer. I want to include community site. I just got that hooked up, so I had to figure that out on Teachable. There's a private community for all members. So we're going to have that. There's going to be quizzes and challenges. And so the way that you can read this is that 0 means like it's not going to happen. So I'm not going to post some of these videos to the course. Some of these I'm just posting on YouTube just to sort of give you an update of where the course is. And then, so I need to compress things for the course. That makes it easier for you to download if you want to watch them offline. So that's what I'm doing for the course. I will be posting a bunch of this stuff to YouTube. So that's why there's a category here for YouTube. YouTube's content slightly different than the course content. So I have to make slight modifications to it. And then this just helps me track if I uploaded it to the course, if I uploaded it to YouTube, and then like the last date of when this was done. So YouTube stuff's going to come way later. I'm really focused on the course. So if you want to start the course, you got to buy the course. Probably start posting YouTube stuff later in January. I just have so much to keep track of here. So I've got this spreadsheet to help me keep track of all these different lessons. These are the starter lessons. And then this is going to be the weather app. So this is going to be sort of the first phase of the weather app. I've got all this mapped out. I just need to start filming it, but I've been waiting because I'm refactoring some of this content. And so like getting that under control now puts me in a better spot to start filming. And then I want to enhance the weather app, make it a little bit more fun. Some enhancements. These are working titles. As I'm filming it, some of this stuff's going to get rearranged. Some of this might get expanded or collapsed if it doesn't make sense. And then again, having quizzes, challenges, these will not be on YouTube. So if you want to follow, anytime you see the 0, that means it's not going to YouTube, especially if it's in this category. Not a YouTube video, not going to YouTube. So that's what that means. So that's going to be part of the paid course. And I don't know which lessons are going to YouTube yet. Like some of the stuff are going to be on YouTube, but I'm not going to guarantee that everything's going to go over to YouTube. It depends on the different lessons. So if you want access to all of the content, you can buy the course and get access to it that way. Let's see. So then section 3, I revamped. This was going to be like part 2 of the weather app, but I just combined that all into one section. Now these are going to be some fundamental skills. So I've had a lot of students asking me about specific skills and things that they want to learn. So I've got a working sort of hunch of like, okay, let's just fly through a bunch of different SwiftUI designs. I had a request of like, what is possible on iOS, and can you show us those different designs? So it's like iOS design. We'll be talking about stuff that's in here. So you can sort of see some of the stuff that you can do. I think going over what's possible with Apple's frameworks is really helpful. So that's kind of an overview, sort of digging into naming of different controls so that you're not rebuilding something that already exists. I think that's really important. And then showing how to use a bunch of those different things. I'm on the fence if this is going to stay as like a high level overview or like a in-depth. I think to start, high level is where I'm going to focus. And I want to touch on animation a little bit, so that might go in here. Then we're going to have like SwiftUI data modeling, all the things that you need to understand. Again, having quizzes and stuff that is going to help reinforce that knowledge. Anytime you're doing a quiz or you're doing a challenge, that like gets you to think about it in a different way than just watching it. So I think from a learning outcome, as working as an adjunct professor and as working with students online, like the students who do best are the ones who are engaged with the material and then are either taking notes, doing quizzes, doing challenges, like going the extra mile above and beyond what's in the course is really important. So I want to have opportunities for that. So I just had to sit down and work through what that is. Then we're going to talk about REST APIs. So I started to film some of these. I'm trying some new styles here. So this one I've marked as something I need to fix because I want to redo the style on the flattened nested JSON. Not gonna blast. So this is kind of a new style of video. Now I've done this in the past, but it was always a lot of work because I built out like complex slides. Like if you watch any of my original YouTube videos on iOS and Xcode, I have insane slide decks doing animations of variables. I don't want to do that right now, but I think having some kind of introduction of like, what is JSON? What are we trying to turn it into in terms of Swift so that we can use it in our app? Like, I think that's helpful. So I'm looking at doing that for some of these videos. It looks like I've got a little double face there, but that's okay. Probably momentarily. So just having like 30-second intro, 20-second intro, something that's a little bit easier. The other thing I am looking, so one of the things that's helpful on YouTube is it helps me understand where people drop off and where am I being too long-winded. So this one, I also tried that same style, but I talked about like what I was doing the design challenge on. I should have just linked the app down below rather than just discussing it. Or if I'm going to call it out, just be like, here's the app. Now let's dive in. Because it was just too long-winded, and I did a whole like tutorial on layouts with SwiftUI, which it looks like a lot of people don't care, or they already are familiar enough to get going, or they just want to see how it works and they're not worried about the specifics. So like this type of stuff right here, I feel like could be its own video, and then I just teach it once, or I teach it once in a while, and not every time I'm going to do like a teardown. So it took me, I think, like 5 minutes maybe before. See, when do I actually start writing code? I start writing code at 6 minutes and 30 seconds. So like that's a little long to get started with. Like I think it's fine to have some of this, but some of this is showing me that people are like, don't really like this because it's too slow. So I do think some of these are going to become more focused, and that's just like sort of looking at how people watch this material, what they're turned off by, what they're engaged by, just to make my videos a little bit more engaging. So I am looking at that. That's one of the reasons why I do want to post on YouTube. It gives me instant feedback from 10 people or 100 people watching what's resonating. So that's an example of how that's going. Some of those new styles that I'm playing with that are going to shape how I teach the course. And I want to talk about saving and loading data. So there's going to be user defaults. I might talk about the SwiftUI way, which is what's it called? App storage, property wrapper, saving actual files. And then I am going to do one on Swift data. I was on the fence about this, but it is so easy to get started with compared to core data that I'm just going to lump that in here. Now, I'm not going to go super in depth with Swift data. It's just going to be a brief overview. I think that could be its own course of diving into another application, but there's so many things I want to teach in this course. That's just one of the pieces. And these skills plus this are going to help you connect to servers as well as manage data locally, which I think is super important. So that's going to help you with your own goals. I think it's important to have at least a starting point here. If there needs to be more advanced stuff, that's something that we'll figure out as people go through the material. And then future proofing. This is kind of looking at how you can solve your own problems. There's probably going to be more content here, but this is kind of an initial overview. I'm probably going to have something on Google and Stack Overflow. AI is pretty powerful here, but it can make up things. And if you're new, that can be really challenging, but also Googling things can be challenging as well because you don't know what to trust. There's so much outdated code, which is really what makes iOS and Swift so hard is it's changed so much. So if Apple hadn't changed the APIs, I feel like 4 or 5 times, it would be a lot easier. And that's one of the reasons why I stopped teaching courses for a while, was because Apple kept breaking all of the videos I did. And it was insane to support. It's like, okay, I filmed all these videos and they're no longer relevant. They're no longer good. And refilming everything's a lot of work, especially when I had a day job doing other things. So that's future-proofing your skills, mastering SwiftUI fundamentals. This is going to be kind of a grab bag. I put this in here because this bit me. Like, I've used this at GoPro. I did not understand it. The naming, I think, is bad. So stuff like that's going to go in here, as well as some more complex, high-level things that are going to take a little bit more time to set up. These are bigger things than just using like a text field or a text area or something like that. These are like working with grids, lists, sheets, popovers, tabs. Anything that's got a little bit more complexity, I think, is going to go in here. And then this might fill out with random topics that come up over time. I might do a dedicated like SwiftUI, like basics course, but for now, I just want to sort of put it in here. And this is kind of my grab bag of helpful tips. This is, if you need it, you go here. Very targeted, very punchy content, not roundabout and not like part of another app. So it's very focused content that you can reuse. Section 6 has been totally revamped. It's now going to be the Capstone project. So I'm going to have some videos there. There's going to be a demo day, probably a month or so after the course launches. So that's the project. I'm calling it a 2-week project, but you can start working on this from the get-go if some of the lessons are helping you. I might even change the name for that. So don't even worry about what the name is. This is the Capstone project. That's my temporary naming right now. Again, this content's not going to be on YouTube. So if you want to be a part of the course and you want to work on a project with a cohort, this is the time to sign up for the course. Now, the course is in progress, so it is not finalized. So what you're getting access to is early access to materials. You're getting the option to give feedback to me, to interact with me on the course, get feedback on your own stuff as you're working through it. If I do like an actual launch date for this course, once it's fully finished, then I'll have like set schedules. But until we get to that content being all there, I'm not going to set up any official hard schedules. There's going to be office hours, which is coming up. And then next steps is just going to be how to move forward, how to approach the career path. I've been on 47 technical interviews. I've interviewed with, I don't know. I've had 79 total interviews. So there's a lot. Somewhere between 30 and 50 companies that I've interviewed with, and I've applied to a bunch more. And then there'll be some additional resources. So these are all things, these are not going to YouTube. So these are course exclusives. Let's just paste that in here. It's not going to YouTube. And then office hours are not going to YouTube. Those are going to be private. So I'm going to record office hours with student questions. You can either provide the questions in advance or you can ask them live. Asking them up front is probably going to help a lot. So I'll probably have some messages to the students. I already have 6 students enrolled in the class. So I'm looking forward to working with them in the course. And then we're going to have design challenges. I posted one of these, and I might post 1 or 2 of these on YouTube as an example. I am probably going to, I'm playing around with using widgets as just like a simple YouTube video. Most of these are probably not going to be widgets, but I just did one as an example, and that's what I showed you on the YouTube channel. These are going to be more complex. So this is probably just like an extra here. I think the widget, well, unless it's a fully functional widget, maybe that's what I'll do. Let's make it fully functional. So fully functional. That'll beef this one up instead of just being UI. Okay, so that's going to be a lot more fun. To maybe pull in step data. We'll figure out something of having some data. It's probably going to be just mocked up data inside the app, but then fully connected to the thing. And then as an extra, you could connect it to the health kit data. But I'm not going to dive into health kit for a design challenge. That's something that you can do on your time. And that's the whole point, is like, I want you to have opportunities to challenge yourself, to have like some targets that you can shoot for. And so that's what these are. That's what all the challenges are throughout the course. So that's the updated syllabus. I did update the landing page for the course. And I'm trying to just like focus who this is for, what the kind of goal is. And we're going to be talking more about that. I'm going to be talking more about that. In the course overview. I still have to film that, so that one's not filmed, but like thinking through, like, as I'm working through my syllabus, who is this course for, and where we're going with it. Now, I did revamp the curriculum, so all the curriculum now has this new order. So you'll see that it looks a little bit different if you looked at it before. And then the pricing right now, this is the pricing. So it's $249. I do have the early bird discount, which takes off $50 right now. That one's going to expire at the end of this year. And then I have another option I'm playing with, monthly access. I did have a basic course, but no one seems to want that. Maybe because having the community, having these other extras is more important. So I closed access to the basic version of the course just so I could focus on the full course. And then I'm going to have some kind of monthly option. What that price point is, maybe this becomes the new basic tier. For now, it's going to be priced high just because the course is not finished. So if you want to get the course, I would highly recommend doing it here, because I don't know how long it's going to take you if you did it monthly. And that's why I've priced it high, because I don't really want you to sign up for monthly yet until the course is ready. So that's how I priced it. If you click enroll now, I think this takes you to the payment page, and you can go ahead and do that. All right. I do have some options. I'm gonna be closing this bottom one. I'm not taking any more students for that. I will keep this one-on-one app coaching as an option. I'm gonna have some callouts to it throughout the course, but the app accelerator coaching I am not going to be offering anymore after tonight. So that is closing. And that is the course. So thanks for watching. If you want access to this course or any of the links down below, I will have the link to sign up for the course so that you can learn about iPhone Apps 101. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in another video, and hopefully we'll have some more progress on the course. I was going to travel, but my daughter is sick, so that means I might have a few more days of actually filming over the holidays. and I'm excited about that. All right. Thank you. If you are interested in this, hit the like button, and I will see you in the course.